Hi everybody, today we're making anxiety buns. Anxiety buns are a type of hamburger bun that I like to make when I'm feeling anxious. It's a good way to get out that extra energy, and at the end you get a snack. And when you go to a barbecue next, you can bring those instead of potato salad. So let's get started. You're going to need 1 cup measuring cup, a 1/4 cup, 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, a spoon, a fork, a bowl, and either plastic wrap or a damp kitchen towel. For ingredients, we're going to need all-purpose flour, white sugar, olive oil, yeast, 5 tablespoons of butter, 1 egg, and some salt. First up, we're going to put 3/4 cup lukewarm water in a bowl. Now that's water that is not too hot, but still warm. To that, we are going to add a 1/4 cup of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of yeast. We're going to stir that up. That sugar is going to feed the yeast and let it get nice and active. If you're using active dry yeast, you're going to want to wait until you see those bubbles along the side of the bowl, and it's going to start foaming up, and that's when you'll know that you're ready to move on. If you're using instant yeast, you don't really need to do this. Now, to this, we're going to add 3.5 cups of flour. When you're measuring flour, spoon it into the measuring cup and then level it off. This is going to keep the flour from being too compact, and it's going to give you a more accurate measuring. Ideally, you weigh it, but that's actually not that common in American baking. Now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. If you're using unsalted butter, add an extra 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm using salted, so I'm not adding it. To that, we're going to add 1 egg. And then 2 tablespoons of soft butter. Get a fork, start mixing it together. And once it comes together enough to get your hands in there and start kneading it together. Break that butter up and get it mixed into the dough. Now, I would usually use a mixer here, but I'm trying to show you just how easy this can be and the fact that you don't need specialty tools. At the beginning, we used 3/4 cup of water. You can add up to another 1/4 cup of water. Make sure it's still warm. And you're going to know if you need that if you still have quite a bit of flour left and it's feeling a little tight. Next, we're going to start kneading. Take the heel of your palm, press that forward, stretch it out, fold it back in, 1/4 turn, and repeat. And you're going to keep doing that until it starts to relax. Add flour as you need to keep it from sticking. Eventually, it's going to start softening up. It's going to feel smoother. When you stretch it out, it's not going to be breaking apart as much. It doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. You just want it to start softening up. Okay, and now that we have a nice smooth dough, we're going to form it into a ball. You want to get it, fairly spherical. Pull the top of it tight, give it a little roll. Now we're going to take the same dirty bowl, add a little bit of olive oil into it. Then we're going to add our dough, swirl it around until everything's covered in oil. And then we are going to cover the top of it, again, either with that damp kitchen towel or plastic wrap. I prefer using plastic wrap, so that's what I'm going to use. All right, now we're going to set it aside and wait for it to rise until it's about double. That's going to take 1 to 2 hours, depending on how warm or cold it is in your house. And I'll see you back in a bit. All right, we're back. Let's check and see how it's doing. If you want to see if your dough has risen enough, you're going to take 1 finger and push it down in the middle. And if it's ready, it's going to leave an indent as you see here. Now we're going to tilt that out onto our work surface. We're going to press it down a little bit, get some of those air bubbles out, but we don't have to, make it completely flat. We're going to divide it into 8 pieces. Now, you can do this a lot more carefully than I can do here, and really try and measure it out, but it doesn't really matter. Once you have your 8 pieces, you're going to start shaping them. You're going to pull from the edge in towards the middle and do that all the way around the ball, bringing it together in the center, pinching it, and then twisting it in your palm until the surface of it gets nice and tight and all of it's pinched together. Then you're going to roll it in your palm until it's a nice little ball and put it on your greased baking sheet, seam side down. All right, our balls are ready. We're now going to cover them again and let it rise for about another hour. All right, our buns are back. Take the other 3 tablespoons of butter. We're going to melt it, and we're going to brush it onto the top of the buns. Now you can use your fingers for this. You can just pat it on as you see here. Now, if you have a pastry brush, which I do, it's easier. Just take the pastry brush and brush it onto the top of the buns. It's less messy. You can also use a bit of a paper towel dipped into the butter if you don't want to get your fingers as dirty. Now we're going to pop these buns into an oven that's been preheated to 375 degrees for 15 to 18 minutes until they're nice and golden on top. And I'll see you back in a bit. Okay, we have our buns out of the oven. As you can see, they're nice and golden on top. If you want to see if they're ready, take your buns, flip them over, and give them a tap on the bottom. It should sound hollow, and that's a good sign that your buns are ready. Now that we are done, we are going to do another brush of the melted butter. This gives it a nice color. It adds a really nice flavor to it. And if you're using salted butter, it adds just a little bit of that salty taste to the top. Let's split one open and see how they came out. They smell so good. I really hope you try making these. They're very rewarding. As you can see, they're nice and fluffy on the inside, really great for a sandwich. I made turkey burgers. I meant to take a picture to add to the end of the video and I completely forgot. But I hope you give them a shot. Thanks for watching.